This is Technology in the Classroom by Sarah Clyde. So technology has changed a lot over the last 30 years. About 30 years ago, the World Wide Web was invented by Tim Berners-Lee. Since that time, technology has flourished. In 1993, email takes off, and by 1997, it is used more than traditional snail mail. 1995 saw the creation of Windows 95, which was the operating system many computers used. We had Google was created in 1998, and this provided a search bar to discover the new websites for you. You no longer had to go search for them yourself. In 2007, we have the creation of Facebook, which is a social networking program, and this goes mainstream. Since then, we've had many other social networking programs like Twitter, YouTube, and others like that have gone mainstream. 2009, about 2010, the iPad is invented, which gives more people access to a computer that is hands-on and is more affordable. Now, in the classroom, technology has quickly made its way to the schools. So 20 years ago, the technology we had was mainly in the form of computers. The computers were used to teach typing and office skills, but were kept in mainly a computer lab. If a teacher was lucky, they may have 2 or 3 computers in the classroom that could be used in rotation centers, but most of the time they wouldn't have had those. And then definitely not one for every student. Now technology has made its way more fully into the classrooms, and many classrooms are now equipped with interactive whiteboards, personal laptops, and tablets. And a lot of the times, these technologies are one-to-one. In other words, there's one per student, or at least one per classroom. Some old types of technology we would include this paddle was used. On one side would have the alphabet, on the other side they would write down the lessons. This next one is called a ferule, and it was used to point or punish students who were not paying attention in class. Not allowed to use that anymore. We go on and we have the overhead projector, which projected an image up onto a screen so all the students could see it. We also have the photocopier, which allows for multiple copies to be made at once and is the bane of most teachers' existence because it always breaks down. We have the Scantron machine, which allows tests to be graded by machine instead of having the teacher grade them themselves. And finally, the iPad has many useful apps and applications that can be used in teaching. Now, with the impacts of technology in the classroom, there's a difference of opinion when it comes to technology and if it's either good or bad. But many educators agree it is here to stay. So this says, I won't be impressed by technology in the classroom until you figure out how to install Google directly in my brain. And that would be really nice sometimes. But it's almost impossible to get technology out of the classroom because so many devices are now handheld and students own them themselves. We have iPhones, phones of all sorts with wireless. You have Apple Watches, which is the new technology that seems to be making its way into the classroom. So technology should be used as a tool, and as such it's neither good nor evil. Just depending on how we use it depends on how effective it is. But be careful, don't just use technology for the sake of using technology. It should be used to enhance, enrich, and better our current lessons. Okay? Don't just have a piece of technology and say, oh, I'm going to use this in my classroom. Okay, make sure that it is improving your lesson in some way. So since the technology has come out, it has drastically changed the societal norms in the world. It has become so ingrained in our society, and then we've got these new social norms that revolve around technology. So an example given by Chung says that a personal post can now be blown up into a huge social issue with many people weighing in. Okay, that happens all the time. Someone makes what seems to be an innocent post, someone else takes offense at it, and it becomes a huge problem. People lose their jobs, and lots of other things. Okay, another social norm is that being online is completely anonymous. Because of this, many people or groups are attacked online. This ruins their reputation and can ruin their personal and business lives. And a lot of times these posts are unfounded. There's no proof. There's nothing about it. But because it reaches the masses, it completely changes the person's life. So trust, security, and personal privacy are big problems in today's society. Where do you find the balance between security and personal privacy? You need to make things safe, but people also have the right to having their own privacy. And then the final norm I'd like to focus on is the idea of an individual. On the positive side, there is a greater focus on individual creativity and learning. People are looking online to learn more about what they're interested in, and they're doing it on an individual basis. They're also starting to create more. Artists have a way to share their artwork online in a big way that they, up till this point hasn't been possible, unless you opened a gallery. Writers are able to share what they believe and their books online for very inexpensive, which gets their names out there and they start becoming more and more popular. But on the negative side, there's a greater focus on working individually and not part of a collective. It's kind of the mentality of, well, I'm in it for myself. I'm not going to worry about others. I'm going to take care of me, and this can be a problem. Okay, so this one comic says, you have to attend class. You can't just follow me on Twitter. Okay, we need to still have that face-to-face social interaction. So the way we enrich teaching and learning is that that technology allows differentiated instruction. You can help many students that are on various levels of ability by providing technology to help them. For example, if you need to have students read a passage for history or science, then those that have troubles reading, there are apps on technology and other programs that can read the passage for them as they follow along. This allows access to the same passage and the same information, but it helps those that are in need of that help. Second, it also helps motivate students that are disengaged with learning. Okay? Technology, whenever you bring it in, students always become more interested in what you're doing because they're going to be able to use some kind of technology. Back 20 years ago when I was in elementary school, that was bringing in a Bill Nye video. Okay? Everyone wants to watch it. Nowadays, it can be, again, iPads, still Bill Nye. Bill Nye still works great, or anything like that. So third, it creates cooperative learning situations. So students are able to work together, even students that aren't in the same class. You can work across classes on things like Google Docs. You can work, with people all over the world if you really want to. Fourth, this allows access to information from many sources. You can go online and you can look for the information you need. Now, it's very important that students are taught how to find valid information, because not everything online is true. And so it's important for teachers to teach their students how to find the valid information so they can get good sources. And finally, it lets students visit places around the world they couldn't normally see. For example, you could go and see the Colosseum, or you could go and see the buildings in Greece. These are huge trips that most people will never be able to take in their lifetimes, but they have the opportunity to see it through technology. Okay, so kids teaching kids. Eric Marcos did a study that focused on kids creating video tutorials for math. The class provided a PC tablet, which allows writing with a stylus and typing on a keyboard. He found that these students became very engaged as they published these videos. The videos were watched by a global audience, which again encouraged students to continue to add to the tutorial library. This in turn helped students learn lifelong lessons of math, technology, and social interactions. And so the students started teaching each other how to use technology or how to do math problems. When you have a global audience, it really gets students involved because they realize people are actually looking at this information. It's not just going into the teacher's basket. Teacher will look at it, grade it, send it home. No, there are multiple people who are going to look at this. So the way teachers use technology in education can be divided into three main categories. We have teachers with inside the classroom, so that's going to be the Promethean board, internet for research, online blogs and websites that are used to help teach. Then teachers have outside the classroom, so this can be grading, emails, or networking with other educators. The third type is for students, and that includes inside and outside the classroom. So for example, using Google Docs for collaboration, research for projects, or using any type of the office programs. Using technology allows both teachers and students to achieve their learning goals. Now, when it comes to technology, it's very important to minimize distractions. Technology can be a huge asset, but it's also a big distraction. In a study, teenagers could stay focused on an assignment for about 6 minutes before they switched to using social media. Some ways schools have found to minimize distractions can include prohibitive methods, so like banning cell phones and laptops in class, or shutting off the wireless so they have no access to it. Or there's also integrative methods, which allow like filtering tools that allow only certain websites during class, setting clear rules and boundaries, or turning the wireless on and off as necessary, so you can have it off when you're trying to teach, but then on when you want to do these projects. Now, it's important to train teachers in the balance of using technology, and it's really important to provide options and ideas. Methods that work for some may not work for others. By providing many different options, teachers can try them out and find out what works best for their situation. It's important to provide the training before providing the technology. Often the training doesn't come until much later, and so the technology is not fully utilized. And often the training doesn't come until so much later that the teachers get frustrated and give up on it altogether. Now, technology has huge benefits, but also risks. Our benefits of using technology can be showing real-life situations and problems, a way to break up monotonous lecturing, sharing tools with peers. It can provide better organization. You can have interactive applications and more interest and involvement of students. The risks can be that the teaching style doesn't match the teacher. If the teaching style, including the technology, the teacher just hates, it's not going to work well. You can also be using outdated technology, or technology can fail. It often will, so you have to be careful with it. Technology can glitch, or it can cause laziness in the teacher because they'll just find something online, show it, and not work on trying to make it the best it can be. Okay, this one says, how can I trust your information when you're using such outdated technology? So, really important, before using technology, check the 3 E's. Does it, or is it, so does it enhance, does it enrich, or is it efficient? If your technology fits these 3 things, or at least most of them, then it's a good reason to use the technology. If it doesn't match at least one or 2 of these 3, then it's probably not a good reason to use the technology. And that's it. If you have any questions, you can always check these websites where I found out my information to find out more. And are there any questions?